A shortcut is never dangerous on the first day. It becomes dangerous on the day it becomes a habit. And today's story is about a shortcut that slowly, silently, and predictably turned into a deadly routine. A routine everyone saw. A routine no one stopped. A routine that ended with a tragedy the entire plant still talks about. Welcome to Workplace HSE Explained. This is part 1 of the unsafe shortcut that became a deadly habit. Stay with me, because the first 10 seconds of this story will tell you exactly why shortcuts are never just this once. Our story begins inside a medium-sized manufacturing plant. The kind of place where machines roar, forklifts beep, and production targets rule every decision. Among the workers was a technician named Ramesh, skilled, fast, respected, the kind of worker supervisors trusted blindly because he got things done. But there was something else about him. He had a habit, a shortcut, a small one. A harmless one, at least that's what everyone believed. Every morning, Ramesh would start his shift by checking a conveyor system that often jammed. The correct procedure required shutting down the line, isolating power, applying lodo, verifying zero energy, and only then clearing the jam. It was a 7-minute process, but Ramesh had found a way to do it in 30 seconds. He would reach in quickly, pull out the stuck material, and move on. No shutdown, no isolation, no lodo, just speed. Supervisor saw it, coworker saw it, nobody stopped it. Why? Because the line kept running, because production stayed on track, because nothing bad had happened, yet. And that's how unsafe shortcuts grow, not from ignorance, not from lack of training, but from repeated success. Every time Ramesh cleared a jam without incident, the shortcut became stronger. Every time the line kept running, the habit became normal. Every time supervisors praised his speed, the risk became invisible. But habits don't stay small forever. They grow. They spread. They become culture. By the end of the month, 2 more workers had started copying him. By the end of the quarter, the shortcut had become the unofficial method. And by the end of the year, the plant had unknowingly created the perfect conditions for a fatal accident. In part 2, we'll explore how this shortcut evolved, how supervisors unintentionally encouraged it, and how a single decision created a chain reaction that no one could stop. The shortcut didn't explode into a crisis overnight. It grew slowly, quietly, like a crack in a foundation that no one notices until the building collapses. By the time management realized something was wrong, the shortcut had already become part of the plant's DNA. Let's rewind to the moment things began to shift. One morning, the conveyor jammed again. Ramesh walked over, performed his usual 30-second reach and clear move, and the line restarted instantly. A supervisor standing nearby nodded in approval. Not because he supported unsafe behavior, but because he saw production continuing without delay. That single nod was all it took. Within days, workers interpreted that nod as permission. Within weeks, they interpreted it as expectation. Within months, they interpreted it as the only acceptable way to work fast. This is how unsafe habits become institutionalized, not through written SOPs, but through silent approval. The official procedure still existed. The Loto board still hung on the wall. The training records still showed compliance. But the real procedure, the one workers actually followed, was the shortcut. And here's the dangerous part. The shortcut worked. Every time it worked, confidence grew. Every time confidence grew, risk perception dropped. Soon, workers began competing to clear jams faster. Some reached deeper. Some used tools. Some leaned into the machine while it was still running. Supervisors noticed, but they were trapped in a different pressure. Production targets, deadlines, customer commitments, the constant fear of downtime. So instead of stopping the shortcut, they managed around it. They adjusted schedules assuming jams would be cleared instantly. They praised workers who were quick problem solvers. They unintentionally rewarded unsafe behavior. Meanwhile, maintenance logs showed increasing wear on the conveyor. Safety audits flagged repeated near misses. But none of these warnings triggered action because the shortcut had become normal. And when something becomes normal, it becomes invisible. Until one day, a new worker named Arjun joined the shift. He had never seen the official procedure. He had never been taught the shortcut was unsafe. He simply copied what everyone else was doing. And that's when the countdown began. In Part 3, we'll walk through the exact moment the shortcut turned deadly. The sequence of events, the human factors, and the split-second decision that changed everything. It was a Tuesday morning, the kind of morning where everything feels routine. And routine is the most dangerous feeling in any workplace. The conveyor jammed again. Nothing unusual. It jammed every day. Workers barely reacted. Arjun, the new worker, was closest to the machine. He had seen Ramesh clear jams dozens of times. He had seen supervisors walk past without saying a word. He had seen the shortcut treated like normal work. So when the jam happened, he stepped forward confidently. But today, something was different. The jam wasn't caused by loose material. It was caused by a misaligned roller, a mechanical fault that created tension inside the system. A tension no one could see. Arjun didn't know that. He only knew this shortcut. He reached in, just like he had seen others do, just like everyone had normalized. But the moment his hand entered the danger zone, the conveyor lurched forward, a sudden release of tension, a violent snap, a movement faster than human reaction. In less than a second, his arm was pulled in. The scream froze the entire shop floor. Workers rushed toward the machine. Someone hit the emergency stop. Someone else called for help, but the damage was already done. The roller had crushed his forearm. The belt had dragged him deeper. The machine had done exactly what machines do. It kept moving until someone stopped it. Supervisors stood in shock. Some shouted orders, some froze, some whispered the same sentence over and over. He was just clearing a jam, like everyone else. And that's the tragedy. Arjun didn't break a rule. He followed the real rule, the shortcut that had become culture. When investigators arrived, they found the official Lodo procedure untouched. They found training records showing compliance. They found supervisors who admitted they knew about the shortcut. They found workers who said, "We've always done it this way." The accident wasn't caused by one mistake. It was caused by 1,000 small approvals, 1,000 silent nods, 1,000 moments where safety took a backseat to speed. In Part 4, we'll break down the investigation findings, the root causes, and the powerful lessons every workplace must learn before a shortcut becomes a deadly habit. The investigation team didn't take long to uncover the truth. This wasn't an accident caused by a single unsafe act. It was the result of a deeply rooted unsafe culture, one that had been growing unnoticed for months. Here's what they found. Root cause 1. Normalization of deviance. The shortcut had become the standard method. Workers believed it was acceptable because nothing bad had happened before. Success had blinded them to risk. Root cause 2. Supervisory drift. Supervisors unintentionally encouraged unsafe behavior by rewarding speed and ignoring deviations. Their silence became approval. Root cause 3. Production pressure. Targets overshadowed safety. Downtime was treated as failure, so workers avoided the official procedure to keep the line running. Root cause 4. Inadequate reinforcement of Lodo. Training existed on paper but not in practice. No one enforced it. No one monitored it. No one corrected unsafe behavior. Root cause 5. New worker vulnerability. Arjun copied what he saw. He trusted the culture. He assumed the shortcut was safe because everyone used it. The final report concluded something powerful. An unsafe shortcut becomes deadly not when it is first taken, but when it becomes normal. The plant implemented major changes: strict Lodo enforcement, supervisor retraining, behavior-based safety observations, a zero-tolerance policy for shortcuts, daily toolbox talks on energy isolation, and most importantly, a cultural reset. But these changes came after a life-changing injury, after a tragedy that could have been prevented, after a shortcut became a habit, and a habit became a disaster. And that brings us to the lesson for every workplace. Shortcuts don't save time. They borrow time from the future accident that will eventually happen. If you're watching this, ask yourself, what shortcuts exist in your workplace? Which ones are silently growing? Which ones are waiting for the wrong moment, the wrong worker, the wrong day? Safety isn't about rules, it's about habits, and the habits you allow become the culture you live with. This is Workplace HSE Explained. Thank you for watching this 4-part series. Stay safe, stay aware, and never let a shortcut become a deadly habit.